In today's cook, we are making a marinated chicken in the air fryer with a sticky honey barbecue glaze. This is super simple to prepare and cook and goes down a real treat because it has maximum flavor. So this is the shopping list that you're going to need. Pretty self-explanatory. You're going to want some chicken thighs. Try and get decent sized thighs. You know, sometimes in the supermarket now they put really small thighs in these packets to make up the weight, so try and get some decent ones. But you're going to want some honey, some lemon, some garlic or garlic puree. You're going to want basically a couple of cloves and some black pepper. You're going to want some barbecue sauce. This is why it's really super simple, because you can use pretty much anything that you can find in the supermarket. But what makes this such a great recipe is the way that we do it. Okay, so let's cook. So the first step is to do this marinade. Now this is a simple marinade, but it provides so much flavor and you can definitely taste it even over the top of the barbecue sauce. And that is simple. It is 1 lemon, cut in half, squeeze all over your chicken. You can see I've gone for 4 of these thighs, and then some black pepper and some of the garlic puree, equivalent to probably a couple of cloves minced. Okay, now give this a nice little mix so that the lemon juice and the garlic is fully covered, and this will permeate the chicken. Now put a lid on it and leave it for about an hour. You know, let the chicken come up to room temperature, and just in that 1 hour, that will be more than enough to impart so much flavor. So before we cook it, we want to dry off that lemon juice. So just get some paper towels and just dry it off, because, you know, in the air fryer we don't want too much juice. We want it to start caramelizing, and if it is too wet, you know, it's not going to do it. It's going to stew. Okay, and this won't take away the flavor because the flavor has been, you know, imparted into the chicken through that marinating process. So just give it a little bit of a dab with the paper towel and then get it into your air fryer. All of those pieces, make sure they're nicely spaced. Now we can just prepare this glaze. For these 4 chicken thighs, I went for a heaped tablespoon of the barbecue sauce that I chose, and then a heaped teaspoon of the clear runny honey. Okay, that's all we need. That runny honey, sorry, is gonna make it caramelize even more and add the sweetness and just make it even more shiny in the finished product. So just make sure that is already stirred. You might want to do this, you know, in 20 minutes later, halfway through the cook, rather than letting it sit on the side, but c'est la vie, I did it for the video. We jump across to the air fryer and we're going with 180 degrees Celsius, and we're going to go for a 30-minute cook, and this will do them absolutely perfect. So after 10 minutes of the cook, we can turn them upside down. So this will put the skin side down, and we can, you know, have the heat hitting the underside. We can put this back in. Now after 5 minutes of it cooking, get some of the glaze, not too much, and just dab it over the underside of these pieces. Okay, just so that we can get a little bit of the sugars and the caramelizing of the underside. So you can see here I've just got my little silicone brush, and I'm just, you know, getting the glaze, and I'm just rubbing it all over all of those pieces, because it will caramelize, because the hot air swirls all around the air fryer and it will get to the underside, which is really, really good. So as I say, this was 5 minutes into the underside. When it hits the 10-minute mark, we're then going to flip it over and concentrate on the top side so we can get the top really nice. So you can see that it's really started to caramelize the underside, because we put that glaze on there. So you can see here, just over the 10-minute mark, we'll flip it up. So we've got the presentation side, visible within the air fryer. We'll stick this back in there, but only for a couple of minutes, 2 minutes, just to start crisping up that skin that was on the underside for the last 10 minutes. And then we'll get our glaze again. This time what we want to do is we want to use about half of the glaze that we've got in our bowl, half, because we're going to glaze it a second time after a couple of minutes, okay? Because we don't want to waste it all, So put half of it on there on each of these sides. Make sure that it is fully covered. You should have enough, if you've done the same quantities that I've done and for the 4 thighs. Obviously, if you're trying to prepare more or less, you're going to have to tweak them and use your own initiative, which is what we should be doing with cooking anyway, because everything's different. Everything's different sizes, different equipment. Okay, so we see that's about 6.5 minutes, and then we're now down to under 4 minutes. So it had a 2.5 minutes there. You can see that the glaze is already started to caramelize and really start to crisp up that skin. So we get the rest of the glaze, get as much out of that bowl as possible, and put it on the chicken for the final 3 minutes. And then, whoa, as you can see here, it is cooked up. It's all sizzling and bubbling. It's going to be sticky, and it's going to be juicy. We can stick it on the plate for presentation and eating. It looks really, really good, and I know that you are going to absolutely love and enjoy this recipe. Hi guys, welcome back to the taste test. Today's cook was a barbecue chicken cooked in the air fryer. This is something that I know you're going to like. It is one of those dishes that really is scoring in an open goal, because you just know it's going to be good, because it just brings together all the classic flavors, and it is super simple to cook. So if you've spent any time on my channel, you will know that I am a huge fan of the chicken thigh. I think it is a phenomenal piece of the chicken. It's my personal favorite. You can do so many things with it. And on the channel, you'll find maybe 5 or 6 specific air fryer chicken thigh recipes. So if you want some more, go to the channel and check them out. Loads of good ones, such as the kind of KFC vibe, the golden, the crispy. Like there's lots of decent ones, so it's well worth checking out. Today we went for a simple barbecue chicken, but we utilized my lemon citrus marinade that I like to do on a lot of chicken dishes. An hour or so before. It just penetrates so much flavor, and kind of, because it's penetrating that kind of citrusy note into it, I feel like it almost makes them a little juicier. That might just be me thinking that, but anyway, we've got them, and we can see they're a bit messy. We're not going to apologize for that, no way. We just got to taste it. And as I suspected, really juicy all the way through. You can get that little kind of citrusy lemon note that's got into the chicken. I only marinated it for about 1 hour or so. And then the glaze, the barbecue glaze, which is obviously the main event. It is lovely and sweet. And it sings of the actual barbecue sauce, which is going to. Okay, there's no point putting loads and loads of flavours, because the barbecue sauce already has a lot of things. So why muddy the waters? Choose a barbecue sauce that you like, just make it a little sweeter. And then you get all the caramelisation, and you'll get, as I say, you'll score an open goal. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next week for another recipe. Take it easy.